And hello gang, I'm going to try and keep this short, largely because yesterday I loaded it, made the video, uploaded it, and it froze at 95%. I think that my laptop, having been on for 2 days, made things that much more interesting, shall we say, excuse me. Now my laptop's actually moving quickly, well, won't be after a while. Before we go any further, normalities restored. My tier finier from Morrison's. Imagine I was carrying everything around like a fucking muppet because I didn't have a basket. It's not open, but it's a cork, not a flipping lid that I tried uncork or whatever. What a curious world we live in. Before we go any further, the President of the United, we live in a world where the President of the United States says, why don't you basically inject disinfectant or take disinfectant, it could help you out. He checked with his doctor who was too scared to say no, and then experts all here and there and shops and the like go, no, don't do that, you mad. And then those that don't know what like Trump saying, well, no, let his supporters do it. Natural selection. And also S.E. Cupp of CNN, I think her name's S.E. Cupp, saying, it's cancelled the conventions for the election this year, the Democrat and Republican ones respectively. And because, the money should go elsewhere, which is a fair point, the policing and all the rest of it. And again, people are saying, no, let Trump and his supporters go there. Just let, natural selection, I suppose. And then we live in a world where the President of the United States said he was being sarcastic and then accused the media of being fake news. Here in Blighty, things are getting curious. The lockdown, the newspaper, the Times today, because I get a paper now on a Saturday if I can, because it gives me something to do. But it costs a lot of money. I spent $4.80 on the Times and Private Eye, and Private Eye is the cheaper, which I never thought I'd say. Saying that, essentially, people are going to start cracking at the seams soon because of lockdown. Cabinet ministers described it, the population has been under virtual house arrest, and it's just utterly mental what it could be. And the worry now, for me anyway, is coming out of lockdown. Before lockdown started, I was utterly petrified about, or at least nervous about, coming home in case I ran into some kind of trouble. And I've always been worried about it ever since 2017, but also being attacked by teenagers. It turned out they were underage and on drugs. And now I'm worried about leaving the house. My house has become not a fortress of solitude, but this is what I mostly see. Now I'm probably taking the mick compared to others, going out every 4 days to shop, but the bits I'm getting are needed, like, I needed cloths and toilet cleaner and stuff just outside the house. I hadn't had anything to wipe my signs down for almost a week. They're not to say they're shocking, but they need cleaning, don't they? And I need other things in the house relevant. So I spend a bit more money, including on alcohol. Samaritans are saying, you hurting yourself and over drinking. Not necessarily, but the mindset now is that I must drink or something. In the evening, I do in the evening, I don't do it in the day. It was really hot the other day, and all I had chilled in the fridge was a can of cheap lager. So I laughed because I was tempted for a moment, and it was 12 o'clock. So fuck that. Only for the tour guide leaving bash have I drunk before. That was insane. As I said before, we turned out at the office, and then we all left by about 8 8:30. We stood on the corner, sort of, phoning, texting family and friends, and saying goodbye to other people, because not everyone went. And we said, right, up to the Willow. I don't know, I've only been in that bloody place twice, and both 3 times, and only because of the tour job. But we carted in, and I was trying to phone my mum, so I stood back from the bar, and I could hear, as the phone was ringing, somebody going, "You don't serve alcohol until 9 o'clock, fine." So we all bought soft drinks. The moment 9 o'clock romps up, if we had all done it, we would have crashed the Wetherspoons. I laugh because, and it's when I realised, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't trying to keep myself away from people, but I'm always nervous with people I don't, or shy a little with people I don't know, and even if I become friends with them, there's like a safeguard in place, so to speak, in case. But I suddenly realised that these people liked us, and it wasn't a session where it wasn't like 4 hours of people going, they liked me, and me alone, but we're all there together, and there was this sense of camaraderie, or Kameradschaft, I think Klaus would say. And I miss them, and I even missed a job, which I didn't think I would, based on how I was feeling by the time we lost a job. I mean, some people were on the verge of tears, some were crying, I think, and there was a general look of dazed, and I just was staring at the ground. My mind just couldn't catch up with it, and I don't think it has caught up with it. I've got to stop going, I never did on the tour buses. There's also conflicting things I've read, even on things like Have I Got News For You, that people are saying that the lockdown might not end now until June, I'd imagine. I mean, we're having our review in 3-4 weeks. That's virtually the end of May, or at least towards the end of May. And social distancing could keep on to the end of the year, with the pubs being the last to reopen around Christmas time. The economy's in the toilet. It's going to die. It's dead, I would have thought. Nothing's coming in or out. And even little things like non-league football, which I follow, and I've only managed to see one match in the past couple of years because of work and money, but that might not restart now until 2021, and it's little things people don't appreciate, and they go, it's football, I don't give a shit. That football clubs below a certain level in this country, say 4 or 5 divisions below the Football League, are communities. You take the match I did see at Homer Green, which is technically separate to High Wycombe, but nowadays is considered part of High Wycombe. And it's where my grandparents lived until they died, of course, and it's where my uncles and my aunts still are. And it's a place I know it well enough, and it's a fairly affluent area in parts. Not massively rich, but anyway, Homer Green Football Club did then in the Spartan South Midlands Premier, and they're now playing the Hellenic Premier, and this season was shit. They're 7 points by the time the season was null and voided, so it's done Homer Green a favour maybe. They average 45 people at a home game. Their stadium is merely a pitch as part of the brand still reasonably new and modern Homer Green Sports Centre, which is also home to cricket and rugby and probably stuff inside. You turn up, you walk in through the car park, and it's literally like car parks here. Pitch is there. You got 2 little wooden bus shelter like things to sit in, which could probably hold 5-10 people each, and then otherwise you stand around the outside, and there's signs around this pitch saying no swearing, which clearly the Biggleswade team, the management in particular, didn't understand, because several times I'm pretty sure I heard, "Fucking get on your fucking..." Homer Green were 5-0 down at half time. I shouldn't laugh. 5-0 down at half time, and somehow it ended 7-2. I shouldn't laugh, but yeah. And they're ran by volunteers, as indeed Biggleswade are, and these people rely on spectators. I paid £6 for a ticket. They knew my grandparents, or at least they knew my granddad, until he died, of course, in 2007. Because they asked me, "Have you come far?" And I said, "Well, I come from Aylesbury, and my grandparents lived here, etc., etc., etc." There's no big money owner. that I know of. They're not, buying their way up through the leagues like some teams do in non-league football. I'm not saying the likes of South Shields and Billericay and that were buying their places in the league, but they've had money injections. Billericay are now paying the price. They were towards the bottom conference South. Their dreams of Football League by 20 whatever. South Shields have been done over by the null and void. The FA has said they listened to the clubs, clearly ignored them. Yes, health is important, but there were teams that were 20 points clear like Jersey were. And Jersey had not lost a match. They won each and every one of their 27 matches and had a 93 goal difference. And they were technically promoted. They were promoted because they were 20 points clear of the team in second. No, 30 points clear of the team in second. FA null and voided the season after consultation, and they're not even considering promoting the teams that were away from it. So it's a minefield. So Homer Green, ran by community volunteers. I don't know who the manager was, but if Biggleswade was in the indicator, the assistant manager, I think, was the chairman and the physio. I shouldn't laugh. And, these players have jobs. They're bin men, they're school teachers, they're police officers or whatever. There's outcry that the Premier League should give money to lower leagues. Apparently they do already, but I won't go into it too much, but take a Premier League footballer for Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City definitely, and soon Newcastle, their salary per week could probably keep a non-league team at Homer Green's level and above and below it going for a few years, if not that. When Haringey Borough played AFC Wimbledon in last season's FA Cup in the first round, they were on TV and they had already gone through 4 qualifying rounds and maybe a preliminary round to get. Technically the FA Cup, by the way, starts in July. As far as everyone else is concerned, like the Premier League, it starts in January in the third round. January. The money, you get money, of course, by winning each round. In the preliminary qualifying rounds, it's a few £100 initially and a few thousand. And then, of course, the further you go in, it's tens of thousands and whatnot. And Haringey got money for being on TV. I think the BBC shown it, didn't they? And that's 60-odd thousand. So they made possibly almost £1 million, I think. No, not £1 million. Something like, we'll say £100,000. I need to look it up. But they've used the money to build like change rooms and whatever. And other teams that have done the same on TV, like I'd imagine Malden and Tiptree, by knocking out Leyton Orient and getting to the second round of the FA Cup this season, and already going through 5 previous rounds, have made enough money to do things. These people need money. So non-league football, cricket, county events, whatever. And today, the death toll in this country has now gone over 20,000 people. And the government, I'm sure, are going to be held accountable once this mess is all over. People say they haven't acted soon enough. And unfortunately, as you saw in How I Got News last night, us and Germany are divided down the middle in our comparisons. Germany has 155,000 odd cases compared to our 148,000. And yet they've got a death toll of just short of 6,000 because of their testing and how they've treated it. The Americans now almost 930,000 already cases and 52,000 dead. But apparently they say in the newspapers that you can't compare the United States to other countries because they've got a much larger population to say Canada or whatever. The Falkland Islands have 12 and no one's died. So yeah. Samaritans ask how I deal with it. How does any of us deal with things? I don't hear voices as such, but I hear thoughts, if that makes sense, and the thoughts say you have to do things. I haven't, but it's tough. And I keep getting these stupid people on YouTube commenting on my videos that apparently are spam bots that want to take my channel, or they're welcome to it. By the way, if you are curious about statistics and that, I mean, this is why I'm looking at my TV. There's a YouTube channel, I think it's called YLab ROYLAB stats, and it's called the coronavirus pandemic. Now, on first glimpse, it looks like one of those stock exchange things, like lots of numbers scrolling up and down, but it breaks it down each country from cases to deaths to recovered, and they update it every so often. So you'll see it, like for instance, as I'm looking at Italy, the cases go yellow if it's being updated, so they're now on 195,351. The deaths go red, 384, and the recovered are going green, 63,120. And if you've got really good eyes, they break it down onto the left, and Italy have added 2,357 cases, 415 deaths, and 2,622 recovered. Check it. I mean, you don't have to sit there watching it. It's morbid. Each of those numbers is a person, living or dead, and it makes you realise that we're all in it together as a race, never mind politics or countries. Boris will be back in the job on Monday. Well, he is in the job, but he's back to work on Monday, and they reckon it's changed him. We'll see. When this is all over, will the Tories go back to doing what they do? Will Labour go back to doing what they do? Well, Trump's doing what he's doing. A near-death experience, they reckon, changes most people. The sky is blue, you hear bird songs and all this stuff. Is Boris Johnson changed? Can he be changed? I mean, they reckon he's a lot more cautious and a little bit frightened about slackening the lockdown measures because of what happened to him. Somebody I know, I don't think they're a fan of Boris by any means, says that it will change his attitude to the NHS. It remains to be seen. I mean, the nurses say they were surprised he thanked the two ladies whose names I haven't got to hand. But I would, if I was, I'd write a letter to these people. I almost did, for instance, when I was in hospital when I was at uni, when my meds and alcohol went against me. And by the way, I didn't think I'd be drinking, hence why I took my meds, because usually you don't drink and you don't mix them, or you didn't back then anyway, because these ones don't seem to be affected by anything I do. And I woke up with something in my arm, and I was naked but for my underwear, and that was 4 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning. The window was open behind me. I was cold as anything, and I was like, what the fuck? And I remember it still that night, like it was all from a distance. I remember sat there, next thing I know it's black, and apparently I started vomiting for the accuracy and for distance, and they dragged me to the toilet, and they were saying Matt, and I just wasn't reacting there. I thought I was, I don't know, it's weird. I felt like I was down the drain, and I'm grateful to the chaps for helping me out, and especially the paramedics and the doctor and the matron, or the ward sister, whatever they call them nowadays. And I wanted to write a letter, but I didn't know who these people were at the hospital. Was it a near-death experience? No, I don't think it was. It was an experience that has clearly not mattered anything since then, because I'm still... But yeah. It looks like I'm still going to be in lockdown for my 35th birthday. My farewell to the sunny side of 30 party at the old Swiss cottage might not happen now. And I can't go to London. Not yet, anyway. So take care of yourselves, if you are still there. And do what you have to get by.